Imagine that something as simple as salt in your home can be the key to breaking curses, protecting your family, and bringing blessings. Does that seem impossible? It's not. The Bible reveals that salt, far more than just a seasoning, is a powerful spiritual weapon. Since the beginning of time, it has been used to seal covenants, purify, and even condemn. What would you do if you knew that this everyday element holds the power to change your life? In this journey, you will uncover the hidden role of salt in the scriptures and learn how it can be used to face invisible battles. Beware, the enemy also knows this power and tries to corrupt it. But, in the right hands, salt becomes a divine tool capable of transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. Are you ready to uncover this hidden truth? If this content has sparked your curiosity, subscribe to the Getting Rich with the Bible channel. Don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and comment on your thoughts. Together, let's explore biblical mysteries and expand our knowledge of the spiritual weapons God has given us. The mystery of salt in spiritual warfare. Since the dawn of humanity, salt has been a constant. Whether preserving food or performing rituals, it has always been present. But is salt merely a common element of creation? Or is there something deeper, something spiritual that only a few know? In his words, Jesus called his followers the salt of the earth. This simple declaration hides a spiritual secret that needs to be uncovered. Salt not only preserves what is physical, but also the spiritual. Through it, covenants have been sealed, curses broken, and blessings released. Prepare yourself, because in this journey, you will discover the hidden power of salt in the scriptures. What seemed like a simple mineral will reveal itself as a powerful spiritual weapon, capable of transforming lives, homes, and destinies. What is about to be revealed could change your view of the spiritual world. Historical and biblical context. The role of salt in the Bible. In Scripture, salt was a fundamental part of sacrifices and offerings. In Leviticus, God commands that all offerings be seasoned with salt, a symbol of his eternal covenant with his people. More than a mere seasoning, salt symbolizes God's purity. Additionally, salt also appears in contexts of judgment and curse, such as in the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, where Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt. This event highlights the dual use of salt, as a preserver of life and holiness, but also as a symbol of judgment and condemnation. Salt stands out among the biblical elements because of its connection to the sacred. While fire purifies and water gives life, salt preserves what is holy and pure, ensuring that covenants with God remain intact. Salt as a spiritual weapon. Breaking curses and bringing blessings. Salt is more than a symbol, it is an active spiritual weapon. In the Old Testament, we see the prophet Elisha purifying contaminated waters with salt, demonstrating its power to heal and restore. This practice highlights salt as an element capable of undoing what has been cursed. In the scriptures, salt is an instrument of blessing and purification. When offered with faith, it has the power to ward off evil forces and draw the presence of God. Additionally, the use of salt in offerings was a way of consecrating everything offered to God, ensuring that it was purified and acceptable to him. Today, salt can be used to break spiritual curses, bless homes, and protect families against evil attacks. Its correct application, combined with faith, continues to bring healing and blessings to believers. It is a tangible representation of God's covenant of protection with his people. Spiritual ritual and modern application. Using salt today. In modern times, salt can still be used powerfully by those who believe. Its use goes beyond the kitchen and can transform into an effective spiritual practice when consecrated and used correctly. Many people use it to protect their homes, spreading it in the corners of rooms to ward off negative forces and invite the divine presence. In prayers and purification rituals, salt is placed in blessed water, which is then used to cleanse spiritually contaminated spaces. Additionally, salt is offered as a symbol of commitment and faithfulness, reminding that the intentions and offerings made to God must be pure. The testimony of many shows that, by consecrating salt to God, their lives were transformed, protected, and blessed. The modern application of salt is a continuation of biblical practices and a reminder that, when used with faith, it becomes a shield against evil and a source of divine blessings. Conflict, the misuse of salt and witchcraft. However, salt is not always used for good. Evil forces, aware of its power, try to corrupt it. The use of salt in witchcraft rituals is an ancient practice where the enemy distorts God's original purpose, transforming a symbol of protection into an instrument of curse. The enemy's deception is making people believe that salt has lost its power, or that it is ineffective for spiritual combat. However, the true power of salt does not reside in those who misuse it, but in those who use it with faith and obedience to God's will. Even when salt is corrupted in evil practices, it can be redeemed by those who believe. Through prayer and the correct use, believers can break the curses and restore salt to its original purpose. An instrument of blessing and purification. Climax, the spiritual confrontation. The spiritual battle finally takes place. The protagonist finds himself surrounded by darkness, and using salt is his last defense. He consecrates the salt to God and, with faith, spreads it around him. The forces of the enemy try to corrupt what is sacred, but God's power prevails. At this crucial moment, salt becomes the catalyst for spiritual victory. The protagonist, in prayer and confidence, defeats the evil forces surrounding him. Faith, combined with obedience to the correct use of salt, reveals that it is more than a mineral. It is a tool given by God to overcome invisible battles. The confrontation ends with the victory of light over darkness, and salt is consecrated as a powerful weapon in spiritual warfare. Resolution and reflection, God's power and the meaning of salt. After the battle, the protagonist reflects on the hidden power of salt. He understands that the victory was not only physical, but also spiritual. Salt, so simple and present in our daily lives, revealed itself as a powerful weapon in the hands of those who know its true essence. Salt is more than an element. It symbolizes God's faithfulness, purity, and protection. The protagonist realizes that the use of salt in the spiritual realm is not superstition, but a practice based on the scriptures, a reminder that God has given us tools to fight and win spiritual battles. Conclusion and personal application. Salt in everyday spiritual life. Now the reader is invited to reflect on how they can apply these teachings in their own life. Salt, so accessible, can be an instrument of protection and blessing when used correctly. Just like the protagonist, every believer can use salt to protect their home, family, and spirit against the forces of evil. The final message is clear. Use the tools that God has made available to you. Salt is one of them, but without faith and obedience, it will have no power. The challenge is to live a life of holiness and faithfulness, using all the resources God has given us to win the spiritual battle. Subscribe to the Getting Rich with the Bible channel, share this video with your friends, and leave a comment. Together, we can explore even more spiritual tools God has given us to live in victory.